Welcome everyone to our first evening of Frostgrave in the campaign that we're going to start, that we did start now, while you saw all these little videos about it. And, well, actually at the moment I wish I was in Felstad because it's hitting 36 degrees in here, but, well, the first was the Well of Dreams and Sorrows. So, together with Walter and Thibaut, we started the campaign, and as we are with 3, our plan is to play a scenario twice each evening, once against each opponent, determining at the end the scenario for the session of the next month. So it's gonna be like once a month that we're gonna play that game, or up and about. And for the first game and get a hang of the system, and we made mistakes, especially in the combat, resulting in barely any casualties, as we found out during game 3, so that will be corrected next time. We picked a basic scenario, the Well of Dreams and Sorrows, without any random monsters, so we'll enter the campaign from next time forward as well. And game 1 was Zarbak the Illusionist versus Archibald the Sigilist. In the first game of tonight, the Goblin Illusionist Zarbak, here on the left, faced off against the beer-brewing Dwarf Sigilist Archibald on the right, to try and discover the power of the well. Both warbands deployed at the edges of the town section, ready to taste the mystical waters and learn its secrets. And the dwarves were the first to reach the premises of the well, a statue of the Holy Lady of Crooked Dice Rolls, and drink from her fresh spring water. But the scurrying feet of the goblins could be heard nearby, as they quickly approached through the ruins, meaning that the dwarves rushed forward to secure the treasure tokens in the meantime, as more of the little goblins kept hoarding treasure tokens, and the glittering gold just shining their beady little eyes. Those efforts continued as both sides wanted to grab as many riches to finance their journeys along the city, though avoiding any direct confrontations for the moment. Until the goblin war squeaks caught scent of the dwarves, and howling and bouncing charged forward to bite their faces off. The dwarves firmly held their line though, protecting the treasure from the vicious beasts, and in the meantime 2 archers of the goblins had clambered up the walls to draw lines of sight to the wall, and tried to stop anyone from approaching it. But the dwarven apprentice Patche did manage to swig before slinking back into the city, and the game came to an end, both warbands counting their wins. The dwarves, winners of the scenario, moved into a brewery, while the greedy goblins took refuge in a treasury, where they took care of an injured warsqueak, but the beast would not be able to join the next expedition though. And that was Zarbak the Illusionist versus the Witch of Ballantine. And then it was time for me to step into the arena for the first 2 games tonight, and I began with facing the defeated Zarbak of the first scenario. The section of the city was rearranged for some different gameplay, and both warbands set up on their edges to try and have a drink of the magical well. The greedy goblins immediately began advancing to the open central square where the statue was located. They cast an explosive rune nearby, but an enchanted armored thug bravely threw himself on it, both him and the cursed enemy wizard taking damage from the blast. The Witch of Ballantine had set up an ambush though, and her warriors streamed in as barnacle birds made off with a golden ring. The brave barbarian, however, is so dim-witted he didn't even realize the enemy wizards tried to cast fool's gold on him, making off with the treasure unfazed. Almost as dim-witted as this goblin who was trying to climb the walls. As the enemy warhounds were dispatched, the warriors took up position to shield the witch and her apprentice, allowing them to drink from the well, and after tasting the magical waters, the warbands retreated. The witch took residence in an old library, where her quest had yielded 100 gold coins, scrolls of both leap and summon demon, and potions of poison and invisibility, as well as a grimoire of time stop. She advanced to level 2, increasing her health and lowering the casting value of curse. Unfortunately for Zarbak the Illusionist, his warhound did not survive the wounds it had suffered during the game. And that brought us to the third and final game for tonight, Archibald the Sigilist versus the Witch of Ballantine in, well, the Battle of the Caps. In the final game, my witch faced the victor of the first game, and his merry crew was looking for a magical beer barrel. The scenery as such was rearranged one final time for today's game, and both warbands deployed for a final run towards the well. The witch started aggressive, rushing and leaping her warriors forward, as Bob the Thug set off all alone for the treasure. The dwarf wizard, however, instead thought it a better idea to damage himself while failing to cast, and his apprentice, eager to copy his master's movements, did the same. But soon he encountered quite some opposition, as the Sigilist troops had their eyes on the book as well. "Run, Bob! Run!" Bob managed to shake off most of his pursuers, helped mostly by being tandem leapfrogged by both the witch and her apprentice. Around the well, a melee had erupted, cursing and poison darts wreaking havoc amongst the dwarves' efficiency. The dwarf apprentice drank from the well, but then a tug appeared from around the corner and pushed him into it, draining his life force as a result. With 3 tokens still in their possession and not willing to risk her apprentice to go drink from the well, the Witch of Ballantine gave the order to withdraw from the field of battle. The battered dwarves, glad they were allowed to slink away with their treasure tokens. Unfortunately for them, Patcha was removed from the well, but he remained cold and stiff. The Sigilist apprentice had died from the overdose of magical infusion of the waters, and the witch had gained 90 gold crowns for this encounter, a second potion of invisibility and a filtry of fairy dust, as well as a grimoire of poison dart. She sold this book as she already knows this spell, and then spent a portion of her gold to install a giant cauldron in her library. Rising 3 levels, she learned Time Swap from the earlier found grimoire, increased her will, and lowered the casting value of her leap spell. And so, that was it, the first session of our little Beer and Pretzel campaign, with some hilarious moments to go with them. The next game might well be in about 5 weeks, and having rolled for the scenario so that we know to prepare in Figs and Scenery, that will be Genie in the Bottle, ouch. With the random encounter table level 1 only, also coming to the table then, it will be a lot more mayhem and chaos for sure. Until then, and may you never get lost in the ruins of Felstad. Thanks for watching, and bye bye. For watching this video, and if you want to support me, check out the link tree above for all my channels so you can have a look there, or my affiliate links, so there's a little kickback to the channel for more content, and if you really like, you can always buy me a coffee. Thanks, and bye bye.